Today on Riffs, Beards, and Gear, we check out my studio for 2024. So you guys always like the studio tours. I went years without doing a proper one. I did one last year, but I feel like there's been enough change to warrant a newly updated annual studio tour for the start of 2024. I'm going to take you around. We're going to nerd out a little bit. I'm going to show you my various setup things. Yeah, studio tour 2024. Let's do it. All right, so we're walking in, and you'll notice right away that the last studio tour, I just had a stack of amps. Not really realizing at the time how much I change amps out, so I reconstructed the amp shelf that myself and my father made. But this time I used slightly shorter pipe to make the shelves less tall, because before the fourth amp was like where that victory would be, and then I had another amp and it was a little absurd, and there was a lot of room left between a lot of the amps. So now it's 12 inches, and this works pretty good. This is basically my guitar tone station. I guess we'll start with the pedal board. The pedal board is mainly overdrives because that's what I'm using when I'm reamping for a record or for a video or whatever. These are always changing, but not as much as the amps. So I have a Maxon OD9. I have a VFE Ice Scream, which is basically a tube screamer with a high and low pass filter. A classic OD808 Maxon, a MXR Custom Badass Modified Overdrive. Love that overdrive. As a standby, I have a Maxon ST9 Pro Plus, but that's not really being used right now. The overdrive I've used, I don't know, I would say 75% of the time is this super overdrive from Boss. It just sounds so damn good with everything. Of course, a Polytune, and then a Sentry Noise Gate. And I have the MIDI controller to control my amps. So basically, I'll just come over and I'll loop a section with a reamp, which we'll get to in just a second. And I just kind of click through the various amplifiers that I have in each slot. Currently, I have a Gosh Amps Tone Chaser. This is similar to a Friedman flavored amplifier. However, this is coming from the 2203 JCM 800 style, which I feel like a lot of the Friedmans come from the plexi side of things. Despite its look, this is basically a 2203 in stock form, and then there's a dial on the back. I made a video about this. There's a dial on the back, and you can engage more gain structures as you see fit. And it's really, really cool. It sounds incredible. It came for a video, and I had to have it. I just fell in love with the sound. It's very, very versatile, and because I can only have, 4 amps in the room at any given time, I need an amplifier to be multifaceted. So this has 3 or 4 very usable voicings, and I just love it. Next, currently I have a Bogner 20th anniversary Shiva. This amplifier is one of the better sounding amplifiers I've ever had. Definitely modded Marshall-esque, but it really does something unique because it has a KT88 power section, and there's like 4 different modes on 2 channels, and it has a low mid thing, and it also has one of the best clean channels of any amplifier ever made ever. This amplifier definitely just sounds different, and I need a lot of variety when I am mixing and reamping for a band, and this gives me that. Next, we have the Boogie Badlander, the rectifier Badlander. I always have to have some kind of a rectifier in the amp section, whether that's an old one or a 3-channel or whatever, just depends. Lately, I've been really, really back in love with the Badlander just because of the versatility. And, I'm not necessarily mixing a lot of metal these days. I mix a lot of rock, pop punk kind of stuff. This fits that bill nicely. And I also have 6L6s in this, not the EL34s that come stock. And I prefer the 6L6s. And then lastly, I have a Victory Super Kraken. The Super Kraken is just, it's meant to fill in any gaps that these other amplifiers don't offer. This is presumably more high gain than the other amplifiers as well, but also has that kind of British flavor, but can do American tones as well. Like, this is going to be what I use for something super heavy or not heavy at all, like a real kind of broken up crunch thing. It really does, this amp literally does everything, and that's why it's here, because it can just be, it can be that wild card amp if I'm reamping for a record and need something that's not a straight up rhythm tone or lead tone or clean tone. This is the amp I use. So yeah, that's the amplifiers. I have a nice nifty little table that I use for all sorts of stuff. The couch, of course, the couch that you guys see me sit on all the time. And then we go to the desk. You guys know I love the Genelec 8331s with a sub right there. Let's see, we have a dangerous monitor controller, Elgato Stream Deck, which I use to edit video and you know, mix in. I use it quite heavily in the video side of things. I'm a trackpad guy. I'm not a trackball guy. And then I also have these real teeny tiny 8010 Genelecs for a beat rig. It's not hooked up to the sub. These are great for just checking on, you know, to approximate how your mix is going to sound on a phone or something. The most change in the studio since last year is this section, I would say. I've kind of fine-tuned my setup. Oh, actually, I totally forgot the Fractal X-Load. So the X-Load and the KHE amp switcher, I feed a direct amp sound to the Fractal Axe Effects. The Fractal Axe Effects has a cab block that is loaded with a cab section, and that's how I get my impulses and my Dynacab section in the Fractal, so I can just move the mic around on the speaker and get any tones I want, and I have a single preset to have up to 4 different sounds, and then within each of those presets or the scenes, I have multiple tones within those, right? So that's been my guitar tone, and it's worked out wonderfully. I guess we'll start from the top. I have a 500 series lunchbox with an SSL G comp, SPL Big, and an Elysia character, which is saturation. And then I have this Audioscape that I recently got. This is for my desk mic audio. So this is on, I mean, this is on every day, right? When I'm talking to you guys, this is what my audio is going through. And I really needed an outboard 1176 style compressor, just because I like how it sounds on my voice. I tried other compressors, and other compressors are cool, but I don't know, there's something about the 1176 on my voice with a Neve that just sounds phenomenal. This desk is a Gatorworks desk, and this sidecar is really, really cool. So when I'm sitting here, I can just pull out. This is just a plug-in controller. This actually doesn't make any sound itself. This just controls the plugins, the SSL native plugins. And so I can quickly have this out, and I can just switch from track to track or bus to bus and just quickly make adjustments. This is just a little holder thing for stuff, in-ears, picks, AirPods, tuner, Jimmy clip, that kind of thing. And then next to the Fractal, I have my reamping box, which is a UTA GB tracker, which is my DI box and my reamp box. And then I have a headphone amp, which is a Little Labs monitor. Laptop, iPad, camera rig that faces down. This telescopes out, so I can have a pedal here. It's a Sony FX30. And then down here on the rack, where all the fun is, The whole heart of my my entire setup is this Antelope Audio Orion 32 Plus Gen 4. And then I have the Dangerous Monitor controller, which you saw next to the keyboard. And then I have my my Neve 1073 DPX is a 2-channel 1073 channel strip, or mic pre rather. It's 2-channel, so I use these for everything. Next is an Elysia Expressor, an old one. Next is a TK Audio BC1 THD. This is like an SSL flavored compressor, but a little bit more mid-forward than an actual SSL. We have an API 2500 Plus that I use for drums. Then the Warm Bus Comp that I feel like doesn't get a lot of love. Maybe it does. I use this for parallel drum compression, and I just have the threshold just crazy, and it works, and it sounds great. It's just something different other than these other compressors that I have, although they're all VCAs. And then I have a Fatso EL7X for saturation. And I don't know, I like hardware compressors a lot. Not to get too bougie, but you know, I just feel like the hardware compressors do a thing. You see the Fractal foot controller right here. Yeah. I like rat gear. I like 500 series gear. Sounds cool. Then I have the, you know, an Alexa Dot to change the studio lighting. I just tell her what I want the studio lighting to be at. Then I have a Apple M2 Mac Studio Ultra, or M2 Ultra Mac Studio computer mounted on the underside of the desk. And this changes wildly. The guitar's in my rack. Got an Xbox here in the corner. TV up there in case I want to watch something while I'm mixing or something. I'll make a separate video about what's in my rack, but currently you have my first guitar, which is an old Squier 94 Strat, my 2 toured Music Man Stingrays, PRS Custom 22. Then we have this recent edition, this R9 Murphy Lab Gibson Les Paul Standard, which is really, really nice. An old toured 2012 Modero Les Paul Custom. A Jim Root Jazzmaster. And then we got this cool American Professional 2 Jazzmaster I just recently got, which is a really, really cool guitar. Those are the guitars that are currently in my guitar rack. And you guys have seen the closet before. I mean, this is just, it's kind of messy. I have my strings, I have my pedals, my creaky floor, a Soldano Solo 100. Lots of custom picks. A photo of Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley. Yeah. Tons and tons of stuff. I recently bought one of these actual original Stingrays from the 70s. Pedals, cables, show posters. A couple of show posters. The Pierce the Veil guys were nice enough to sign a poster for me when we played with them for New Year's in 2022. It's very nice of them. And yeah, that's basically the Stewed. A couple of comic books up here. Some of my favorites from when I was a kid. And yeah. And that is pretty much the studio. Oh yeah. Photo of me at my very first show. at Decatur in Federal Way. Just a reminder. Just a reminder of where you came from, you know? And that's the studio for 2024. And that does it for the 2024 studio tour. If you feel like supporting this channel even more, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below. And with that, you've been wonderful. I've been Fluff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.